Hello, this is Howard, the Teaserking. Just want to talk about my trip to Vegas over Christmas and New Year's. Really, it's how to bet teasers at a master's level. I talked about this on a prior one, but I wanted to identify this separately, how to bet it. I made 24 2 or 3 team teasers, and I won 24 2 and 3 team teasers. So therefore I went 24 bets, 24 winners. I also made a 7 team, 9 team, 10 team, 11 team teaser and won all 4 of those. I also made a 12 team parlay with my teaser picks in the parlays, and I won 10 out of 12, the only losers being the Eagles and Florida State, which both won for me in the teaser. Which proves my point. People will say, well, why do you bet teasers versus straight? And that's one of the reasons. The way to bet teasers is when you analyze the game and you find that lock. You find Denver needs the game for home field advantage, #1 seed, and they're at Oakland, and they're going to kill them. You don't waste that pick. That's what you're looking for. This is what I look for. I look for the team that has to win. That's the good team versus the bad team. That's the perfect storm. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to bet. I love betting against weak teams, and I love betting on strong teams. And when the strong team has to win to get the #1 seed, to get that bye into the playoffs, that's what you look for. That's what you jump on. The difference was I had it 4 times. I had Denver having to win. That meant New England had to win in case Denver lost. Seattle had to win for #1 seed, which made San Francisco had to win in case Frisco lost. It also meant there was also Cincinnati had to win because New England lost. They could have been the 2 seed and got the bye, which also meant that there was one of New Orleans had to win to make sure they got in, and it was just, and the Philadelphia had to beat Dallas to get it. That was a playoff game, but with Kyle Orton it made it a whole lot different. And that's what you look at, but you more focus on the best teams: Seattle, Denver, New England, and then Philadelphia that had to win. Now, what I also did, I locked the New York Jets over Miami because Miami needed the game, but the Jets played them very well, and the trend was the dog in the series. And I knew Miami isn't very good. They're not the best team having to win. So therefore I took the Jets in another lock. But the teams that needed it, Pittsburgh had to win against the team they always beat, Cleveland. It was the perfect weekend. It was Pittsburgh, it was Cincinnati, it was Denver, it was New England, it was Seattle. The Jets over Miami was such an outstanding trend. The Lions, I didn't even play against Minnesota because Kelvin Johnson wasn't playing, was good. Frisco had to win against Arizona and won. It was perfect. And so I played these teams all over the board. I played them in 2 team teasers. I played them in 9 team teasers and 10 team teasers. I got 20 to 1. I think the odds are terrible. I played an 11 team teaser that I won, and the odds were like 20 to 1. I mean, I'm looking at my sheet. Might have been 30 to 1. I think on the 11 teamer it was 30 to 1. On the 10 teamer it was 21. Can you believe I go 11 for 11 and I only get 30 to 1 odds and I hit it? The parlays are different. The parlays, I played a little one. I played a 12 team parlay, and it was there you get, I think it was 800 to 1, or it was even higher than that. I think I played $2, I would have won 2,800 or something for a 12 team parlay, of which I won 10 of the 12, and I get 6 to 1 odds for going 10 and 2. I get 6 to 1 odds. It's incredible. But the key is finding the games, and when you find them, you hammer them. You don't bet teasers. Oh, I'm going to play 2 teasers for $500 each, but I got to play juice, so it's really 600 to win 500. And that's if you can find 12 to 10. At the MGM properties, it's 13 to 10. So I don't even play there. I go to the Caesars properties, and there's probably properties that are 11 to 10, which I need to do more research on. But 12 to 10. I read an article where the odds on a two-team 6-point teaser really should be 16 to 10. So it should be 160 to win 100 mathematically. That's how much these win. And when I hear people say they're a sucker bet, I just laugh and I go, oh really? Why is it a sucker bet? I get to take teams that are 2-point dogs up to 8. I get to take Florida State, which is laying 7.5 and 8 at the time, down to 1.5 and 2. And I'm the only one that wins that national title game. And you guys who were smart enough to bet them early when I told you at laying 1.5, 2.5 points because they win by 3. And everybody else waits and it goes up to 12 and they're laying 6 in a teaser and they go, oh, I lost the teaser. But you got to get the right points. So why is it so hard to pick two teams? I had Florida State with New England. I had Michigan State getting 12 with UCLA. I mean, I had so many locks. It's not hard to find two games. It's hard to find two this weekend. There's only one game. I had two last weekend. I had New England and San Francisco. It wasn't hard to find two. In fact, if you teased any of the games last week, you won. So all you had to do was play a teaser and you would have won. And this is my point. This is where I'm at. Is I don't get why people, you know, it's you have to find the right game. You can't just tease a game. But that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the matchup. You're looking for the good underdog. You're looking for the strong favorite against the weak dog. You're looking for the series, the Jets-Miami, where the underdog's 21-1. And the Jets are strong road and Miami's a weak home favorite. And you go, this is perfect. This is a dog series. I locked it the other way. When Miami went to New York, the Jets were 2 or 3 point favorites. I locked Miami in 9 and Miami won 20-3. And here it comes back to Miami. And see, this is the key: is you look at the series. You don't look and say, well, Miami beat them 20-3 in New York, so therefore Miami's going to beat them at home. That's not how it works. It's a dog series. The Lions, Minnesota. It's the dog. You bet the dog. You bet the dog. It doesn't matter where the game is. It doesn't matter who won the first one. The dog is the play. That's what you play. Pittsburgh, Cleveland. Pittsburgh always beats Cleveland in Pittsburgh. You play Pittsburgh. That's it. You don't look at anything else. There's the biggest problem most people have is they look at last week's games and they go, wow, Denver beat New England, therefore Denver's going to beat Seattle. Well, it's a whole different defense. New England's defense was terrible. They lost their best cornerback on the cheap shot, and they basically had Vince Wilfork's been injured a lot, and they had a lot of injuries. They had no wide receivers, and basically they struggled the whole year. And based on Tom Brady, who did miss 2 touchdowns, which I was shocked, they still only beat them by 10, and they're not going to get the same defense. So you can't look at last week's game and say that's what's going to happen this week. What you do is you look at it and you look at Seattle against passing teams. How do they do against Aaron Rodgers? They beat him 14-12 on the worst call in the Monday night game where the fake refs were there. But if you looked at the score, even if they don't get it, it's 12-7. Aaron Rodgers only put up 12 points on them. Drew Brees this year, they beat him twice. They beat Eli Manning. You have to look at that and say, well, if they can handle these guys, they're going to handle Peyton Manning. Vice versa, if Drew Brees lights him up and Aaron Rodgers lights him up and they play Manning, he's going to light him up. That's how it works. And the same thing with Denver. You look at them, and I looked at their games this year, and I'm going, well, they beat a weak Washington team. They beat Philadelphia, who had no defense. They beat the Giants basically on some turnovers. They basically played that Dallas game 51-48. Dallas has the worst defense in the history of the NFL. Then you looked at who they beat, and you go, well, they beat Houston. They're terrible. They beat Jacksonville. Terrible. They beat Tennessee, who was terrible. They played one good team in Indy, and Indy beat them. Then they get in their division. Oakland's terrible. And then they beat Kansas City twice, who has a terrible defense. And they split with San Diego, who has a very bad defense. But they hold them under 30 points a game. That's San Diego. And they beat them by running the ball, and that their coach was the Denver defensive coordinator who knew all the plays. So that's what you had. So really, they hadn't played a top defense. But if you look at their last games, they got 26 on New England. They got 26 on San Diego in the playoffs. So they're not scoring 50 points a game. They're in the playoffs and everything. And then you look at, you just, when you just look at it, I just see Seattle winning the game. But it's the matchup. It's the underdog. If Seattle was favored, I would be taking Denver in the 8.5. But because it's New England, because Denver's favored, I'm taking Seattle in 8.5 because I think the game's even. I can't tell you who's going to win, therefore you take the points. If there's a clear-cut winner, then fine. Now last year, Frisco's playing Baltimore is the same thing. I knew the game was even. I knew Harbaughs knew each other. I took the dog. It was Baltimore. Had Baltimore been the favorite, I would have taken Frisco. So if you can't see a favorite, you take the dog. That's how you bet teasers, and you get them over 7, and that's what we're doing. We got 8.5, and that's the key numbers, and that's the key to teasers. You don't take Denver in 3.5. You think they're going to win, you lay 2.5. You don't tease it, but because you have to pick the second game, then you look at the teaser line. The teaser line, get them under 3, get them over 7, get them over 10, get it under 10, get it under 7, depending on what the line is. You're looking at key numbers to get it under because that's how they score, in 3s and 6s and 7s. So the trip to Vegas was simply, I had these teams that had to win against weak teams that I knew they would, and it was basically, I'm betting on Tom Brady, I'm betting on Peyton Manning, I'm betting on Drew Brees, I'm betting on Aaron Rodgers, I'm betting on the winners, I'm betting against the losers, I'm betting against Christian Ponder, I'm betting against Cleveland, I'm betting against Buffalo's quarterback. That's what you do, is you bet against these guys that are terrible, and you bet the team, bet the good players. They're money players. They're going to win. That's what they do. That's what Tom Brady does. There was no way Tom Brady was losing to Buffalo. There was no way they were going to lose to Indy. I mean, those were sure wins, and the spread was right. Had the spread been 20 points, it's a different story. There's more risk for your return, so therefore it's hard. When you got New England laying 7 down to 1, there's no risk. I was in Vegas for that one. New England starts off at 9.5. I bet them laying 3.5. I don't care. The spread drops to 7.5, and I'm like scratching my head going, did Brady get hurt? I mean, it's the only guy I can think that's going to get hurt that's going to lock the line, and no, he didn't get hurt. Why is the line going down? Well, because the straight bettor sees the spread at 8 and 9, and he's taking Buffalo. Well, why would you take Buffalo? And that's the point of the teaser. So the spread goes down, I bet it harder. All I got to lay is 1.5 now. It's a better bet. It's great. I'm betting New England more and more because they're only laying 1.5. Because I'm trying to keep them under 3. So I had to bet more because the spread, because I had them at 3.5. Now I got them at 1.5, so I'm actually hedging it. And the next lesson I'm going to teach you is hedging the game, trapping the game. Florida State Auburn. I had $2,000 on Florida State, or Florida State -2 won me $2,000. I had them in a 11-team teaser, 10-team teaser, 9-team teaser, 17 teaser, and in 6 different teasers with Michigan State, with UCLA, with New England, with Denver, and I had them all over the board. And the smart thing was then I go and trap the game. What did that mean? Auburn then goes and is getting 12 points. The spread went from 7.5 and 8, and I could see the spread going 7.5, 8, 8.5. I know the spread's going to hit 10, 11, so I'm getting my bets in before the spread goes up. The spread ends up at 12. So I bet I think I bet $1,000 on Auburn plus the 12. And I'm hedging the game because if Florida State wins by 3 to 12, I win both ways. If Auburn wins, which they almost did, I would have won the Auburn and lost to Florida State. But since I had the Florida State and the 11 and 12 and all these odd teasers, then it wasn't like I had thousands of dollars. It was a small bet to win thousands of dollars on the cards. And they were the only one left. All the pros had won. The UCLA, Michigan State had won. So all I got left is Florida State, and I win 11-team teaser or 10-team teaser. So therefore, I got a small bet. I got $100 riding here to win 2,000-3,000. So if I bet 1,000 on Auburn, it's not like I lose the 1,000. I lose what I could have won, but the bet didn't cost me that. So I trapped the game. If Florida State blows them out like I expected them to do, I lose the Auburn part and I win the Florida State part. So that's what you can do, is trap. So you can. There I had a 10-point trap. And the game went perfectly because Auburn had the lead. They weren't getting blown out, and then here comes Florida State and they win the game. So it was perfect. So I win both sides, and that's really what you're trying to do. And that's what you try to do with teasers if you can, if you get the right thing. Now, I don't necessarily recommend trapping, winning the first half, and then the second half comes in and you always trap it. Although you could. You won't lose a lot, but you won't win that much. But I'm so confident in my picks, I don't like, I knew Florida State was going to win. Even though they were down and they were close, they were the better team, and they finally woke up. But that was my point. I was so sure, only laying 1.5. Now, had I laid 5 and 6, it wouldn't have been a lock, and I definitely would have trapped the game stronger or bet Auburn. Had the spread started at 12, I would have taken Auburn in 18 like I did against Alabama. We had Auburn in 17 against Alabama. But because the spread was 7 and all Florida State had to do was win by 1, I said, that's a joke, that was a lock. And it was. All they had to do was win by 1. And, they kind of screwed around the first half, but when they needed it, they woke up and they took the lead and they were fine. And that's my point. When you find the game, you hammer it. You don't bet 4 teams that are good bets for $500 apiece, and then one of the 4 loses. So now you break even. You're 2-1. You're 1 and you lost 1 and won 1 on the other teaser. You bet $600 to win 5. You lose $600. You win $500. You lose $100. You went 3 and 1, and that's how you did it in the teaser. You can't bet teasers that way. You'll never win. You do it my way, you can't lose. So you look for that team, but you got to be specific in who you're looking for, and you look for the hot team. That's why I do all these trend analysis. That's why when I tell you in the Super Bowl that Seattle's 12-2 as a road dog and 43-9 their last 52, and I tell you Denver's 12-2 as a road favorite and 43-10 against the number in a teaser, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing teaser trends. So I'm telling you, these guys. It's I got a 12-2 road dog. What's the percentage on that? It's in about 88-89%. So you're not betting a 50-50. You're betting an 89% team there. If we backed it up to New England, Denver, New England was I don't know. They were a strong, I think they're 14-0 as a road dog the last 5 years, maybe 14-1. So you're betting on a 95% trend. That's what you're betting on. So when you get that, that's what you do, is you lock it and you bet it strong. And that's what you're betting. So you put them in 3-4 teasers. And that's the point of this exercise. Denver had to beat Oakland to be the #1 seed. I had them in 5 teasers. Philadelphia had to beat Dallas. Now, initially I would have teased the dog, but Kyle Orton was playing. Kyle Orton's not that good. He played very well, actually, but he's not very good. And when Kyle Orton was announced, then when Romo was out, I'm jumping on Philly, and I played them in 5-6 teasers. I had Michigan State in 6 teasers. I knew Michigan State was going to win straight out. I'm playing poker at the Venetian, and these guys are talking football, and I go, I don't know what they were talking about. I said, just take Michigan State, just take the money line. They're going to win without the points, because I'm watching them every week, beating Michigan, beating Iowa, beating Nebraska. Then they beat Ohio State. There's no way Stanford was going to beat them, because I could see Michigan State's defense was so dominant, and Stanford likes to run the ball, but they weren't going to do what they did against Oregon, which was run it down their throats, not against State's defense, and they didn't. And that 4th-and-1 call at the end of the game, I thought it was the stupidest call I've ever seen in my life. It's like they hadn't seen Michigan State all year. You cannot run on them. You were not going to run on 4th-and-1 and pick the first down. That was not going to happen. And I just don't understand. These coaches are so stupid that they don't look at the game film. Or they think they can do it, but they can't. Anyway, I knew that was going to win, so I'm telling the guy, just bet the money line on State. And it's just, and this is all it is. So you just watch the games, you watch the trends, you watch the matchups. When you get the matchup and you get the game, you pound it and you put it in 5-6 teasers. Now the reason I hit on 11-team teasers, I had 6 pro games that were beautiful. I added a Frisco and a Pitt to it. I added a Cincinnati. I added a Iowa. I added a South Carolina. And then I had my UCLA, which was a lock, Michigan State, which was a lock, and Florida State, which was a lock. So when I put my pro locks with my college locks, it ended up being 11 teams. So I put them all in the teaser. And I played a 7-teamer, I played a 9. And basically I had the same Seattle, Denver, New England, UCLA, Florida State, Michigan State, the Jets. And then I would tinker with Pittsburgh and Frisco and Cincinnati and Iowa and throw them in. And basically that's what I did. And but once you get the games and you need it, and Tom Brady needs to win, he's going to win. Especially against the Buffalo, where they always beat them. And Pitt always needed to win, they're playing Cleveland. And Denver needs to win, they're playing Oakland. Teams that they always win. And that's what you do. When you find that, and it happened to fall in the same weekend, that's how you play it. You pound them. And I mean, I did a list. I mean, I had most of these teams in 6, 7, 8 teasers. It was, and if you go back to the history of that week, you'll see I've got Seattle 3, 4 times, Philadelphia 4 or 5 times. You'll see on my site I play these teams more than once. It's not a mistake. I'm telling you, this is how you play it. This is the Master's edition of how to play teasers. And that's what you do. You get the game. Now, the key is getting the game that you have the confidence in winning. And it's not 100%. That's why I call it a lock. It doesn't mean it's 100%, but this year was probably in the high, I'm going to say the high 80s to 90%. If I add up my two, you can see how much I won, like 40 grand on my teasers this year. But if you just looked at the percentage, like, you know, okay, I won this one, how many did I lose? I bet I was like 20, probably 28 out of 30, something like that. That's why I put the dollar amounts in. You can see, I mean, you see my results. I can't bullshit it. I'm giving you the picks, and then I'm posting them. So I mean, it's all there. I don't hide anything, because I'm actually real, not like some of these guys. But basically, that's all I do when I find the team, and I get hunches and feels because I've done it for so long. When you've done this since you're 10 years old, and I'm 50, you tend to. I've already seen the game played half the time. I've seen the Steelers play. I've seen the Packers beat them. I've seen the Bears. I've seen the Joe Montana. I've already seen the game. So I'm looking for, where's Joe Montana? Where's Terry Bradshaw? Where's the Steel Curtain? Where's the 46 defense? Where's Lawrence Taylor? And when you find them, that's what you can see. They're winners. That's what you look for. That's what I'm looking for. That's why you don't see me bet Jacksonville and Tennessee. I don't bet the Jets a lot. I don't bet Buffalo a lot, because they get crappy players. They're crappy teams. Even the trends, there's no trends on these teams. Tennessee has no trend. They're not a good home favorite. They're not a good home dog. They're not good bet against. They're like 5-5 and all over. And those teams I just junk. I don't bet them. I don't want them. Right now it's Brady, it's Manning, it's Breeze, it's Rodgers. Seattle's defense, it's Frisco. I'm betting Jim Harbaugh. You look for those players. And that's what you do. When you watch the Lions and they can't hold a lead anytime they're favored. I go to my swim club, and I'm in Michigan, and anytime the Lions were favored, I bet against them except for on Thanksgiving, because Aaron Rodgers was out. And that was the only time I bet with the Lions. Well, I had them with Philadelphia, and I was really shocked they were getting points. It was the only time I bet the Lions as the favorite. Every other time when the Lions were favored, I bet against them, because you can see the history. You just bet against them, and they always find a way to lose. They'll throw the pick six, the turnovers. They're a terrible team, but they're great to bet against, because they always, if they're favored, never cover. They never blow out. It's a beautiful team. I mean, they've hired this coach. I don't even remember his name. He's a nobody. They'll be the same bad team, same turnovers. Nothing will change. They need to start Kellen Moore, not Stafford, but they won't do it because they think Stafford's got a big arm. Kellen Moore is a winner. Kellen Moore doesn't turn the ball over. 4 years at Boise. They had a great program. They were a top 5 team with Kellen Moore, and that was no accident. Don't tell me he can't play in the NFL. I'd bet anybody any amount of money they want. Kellen Moore should be starting somewhere. And if the Lions are too stupid to have it, if I'm Jacksonville, if I'm Minnesota, if I'm Chicago, if I'm the Jets, if I'm Kansas City, I sign Kellen Moore and forget it. Although I like Kansas City's got Chase Daniel, and he played really good against San Diego. So if I'm any team, any of those teams, Miami, anybody, you need a quarterback, Kellen Moore, and be very successful because you won't turn the ball over. You'll make the playoffs, and he can win for you. And because you watched it in college. But that's it. Well, anyway, when you find the team, and you find the player, and you find the coach, you hammer them, you hammer them, you hammer. I won thousands and thousands of dollars on Joe Montana. I won thousands and thousands of dollars on the Steel Curtain. You find it, you bet them, you pound them. That's how you bet, and you get that game, and you get that team, and you just keep betting them, betting them, betting them. And then you find the weak team, the Jacksonville, the Lions, and these teams in a good situation. You bet against Oakland, you bet against Buffalo when they're playing in the big game for the other team, or the team needs the game against them, and you bet against them. So that's what you're also doing, and that you just pound and pound and pound. It's not one bet for $500 blindly. It's I'm betting them 15 times. I'm betting them in 10-team teasers everywhere I can find it. Now, normally, if I didn't have 10 good teams, I might have played a 6 or 7 team teaser. If I would have just really had 6 or 7 really strong games, and I did that. The top 7, the 7 best locks I played in a 7-team teaser. And the 11 was just adding the Steelers and the Giants and the Bengals and these teams that I love, 49ers, but they weren't locks, but they were good picks, and the trends were there, and but everything won. Sometimes the trends are there and you lose. There's nothing you can do, but when everything's going right and the trends are hitting, the Jets, the Giants, Pittsburgh, when all those trends are hitting, then you really got dynamite, and that's what I had. So that's what you do. Now, you're going to lose every once in a while. You find that one team and you lock it. You bet them in 5, 6 teasers. But you got to be consistent about it. You got to do it all the time. You find that one team. You find Tom Brady is a dog, and you hammer him 4, 5, 6 times, and you win with it. Then you hammer him again. You win with it. Then you hammer it and you lose. Okay, it's going to happen. But you're going to win about 8 out of 10 of those strong locks. And that's what you're looking for, and you just keep pounding them, and it's consistency. And then as you're winning, you bet more. You might start out at $100 a unit, then you start hammering it. Now you go up to 2. You get that game, there it is, boom, you pound it, boom, it wins. Now you got more money. Now you move it up to 3 or 4. Eventually, you keep pounding it, now you're at $1,000 a game, or you're up $2,000. It depends on what you're betting. If you're betting $1,000 a unit, now you're up to $5 grand or 10 grand. And that's what you do. And if you get the real high shooters, but that's, you bet with their money, and you just keep betting the same principles. It's Tom Brady is a dog. I'm betting them everywhere I can bet them. And that's really the key to teasers. But I give you I know talent. I know to go after Tom Brady. I know to bet against Denver. I know to take New England last week, even though the game was in Denver, because it's Tom Brady getting points. And that's what I bring to the table, because most people are blind and they just look at the number. A lot of handicappers, they just, oh, it's under 7, I'll take it. It's under 3, it's over 10, it's over 7, I'll just tease it. If they even know enough to tease. And that's my point. I know the talent. So I can tell you, you take Tom Brady, you take Peyton Manning, you take Seattle this week. I can tell you that because I have the eye for it. I know. I watch college. I know the good players. They produce. I can see them in college right away. I can tell you Johnny Manziel will do very good in the NFL. I can tell you Teddy Bridgewater, he'll be a bust. I knew Christian Ponder was nothing. This E.J. Manuel, Buffalo's got nothing. I could see it in college. What made you think it? This Winston on Florida State, he's a little bit of a choker. He came out the first half, but he did win the game, so he's kind of a winner, but he does choke a little bit, so we got to get a little more flavor, but he was a freshman, so he's got that. He did win the game, so we call him a winner for now. I don't see A.J. McCarron doing anything in the NFL. He'll be a decent quarterback, nothing special. I think the kid at Fresno State will do very well. Derek Carr, I think, is a big-time quarterback. San Jose State's quarterback, I think, will do very well. The kid at Oklahoma, the kid who came into the Cotton Bowl or whatever, Sugar Bowl, he'll do very well. He looked like a very good quarterback. And you just go down the list. I wouldn't be drafting Auburn's quarterback. I'm not sure I'd draft Auburn's running back. I think he's okay, but I'd rather draft the Texas Tech running back. I think he's a game breaker, that guy. The little guy who lit up Arizona State. So you see the talent in college. It comes into the pros. They prove it out. And that's who you bet on. You're betting on these quarterbacks. You're betting on the coaches. It's not a 50-50 proposition with me. If I see the talent, I see the bet. Anyway, that's what you do, is you pound it, you look at what you see, and that's what you go after. And that's how you be successful at it. And that's how you win $60,000 a year betting football, because you can see what's happening. You know this team's going to beat that team. You understand the teaser. The more you're laying 7. Florida State 7 down to 1 is a much stronger bet than Florida State 10 down to 4. And 8 down to 2 is a much stronger bet than 10 down to 4. And when you get that line, Florida State 7 down to 1 or 8 down to 2, it's a much stronger bet. UCLA 7 over Virginia Tech, cut them to 1. What a joke that was. What do they think? Virginia Tech has no offense. UCLA's got a great offense. Their defense was injured, but Virginia Tech had no offense, and it was almost the exact score I predicted. Michigan State getting points from Stanford was a joke. Michigan State was the better game, and it wasn't an upset. They should have won. They should have been favored. And when you see that, that's what you're jumping on, and that's pound it, and you see it, and there's nothing. When you see the better team getting points, that's what you're looking for. How do you know they're the better team? Well, you got to watch them. You got to look at the coach, the quarterback, the history, the trends, and everything falls out. All right. Well, anyway, good luck on the Super Bowl. Seattle in the under. Have a great year. Thank you for watching. Thank you for comments. I'll do stuff on the draft, like I said in my other video. Any questions or comments? And we'll go from there. I might occasionally do some basketball. I'm looking into that, trying to get it. It's hard because it's every day, and I don't know. It's like a 4-point teaser. See, 6-point teaser in football makes sense. I get it under 3, I get over 7. I've heard you can make good money at teasing basketball, but it's a 4-point teaser, so I got to look into that and say, they score so many points. How could 4 points help you one way or the other? You're better off betting it straight, but it's so diluted. So I got to look there. But it would be the same principles. You bet LeBron James. You bet, oh my God, the Oklahoma City star, Kevin Durant. I apologize. You bet him. You bet Kobe. You bet Michael Jordan. You bet Magic Johnson. You bet Larry Bird. It's the same principles. You bet against weak teams, teams with no stars. So basically, that's what you do, and it's just the theory, and it's a very successful theory. You got to be able to spot talent, which is what I do exceptionally well. My football IQ, I've talked to people, it's very, very high. It's probably one of the highest. I'll sit around with guys who know football, and they hear me and they go, I don't know anything. When I talk to you, they get a good education, and I say it straight, and so they understand it. All right, well, good luck. Happy New Year, and enjoy the Super Bowl. And if you're at Caesar's Palace, say hello, because I'll be there. And have a great weekend, everybody. Good luck to you. If you have any questions or comments on this video, how to bet, how to handicap, what are you looking for, things like that, you want to know some trends, I do all the trends like Detroit, Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, San Diego, Denver, all those division teams. I have all the trends on. If you want to know any of those, I used to post them on the site. It's too tedious, but I think I might just post the spreadsheets on there so you can just go through and see them. I'm working on that. But I have all that. I have all the trends, and basically it's a big help, but I don't just use technical analysis. I don't just look at the trend and say, yeah, that's it, and bet the game. I also look at the injuries, the matchups, the players. Do they need the game? There's many more variables that go into just looking at the number. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a great day.